You often ask me on Twitter, on Facebook, on YouTube comments, what games I'm currently playing. And right now, I'm in the middle of playing one of the hardest games I've ever played in my life, and that is Cuphead. Now, Cuphead was announced a few years ago. It was actually announced back in 2014, and even at that time, they were already working on the game for a couple of years. I think it actually started being worked on in 2012, and it just came out here in 2017 for the Xbox One and for PCs. If you're unfamiliar, Cuphead has a very unique visual style and audio style as well, quite honestly. It looks similar to the cartoons that were being played back in like the 30s and 40s, and it has that jazz big music feel of that time as well, all combined into one. So basically, it's like you're going back in time, playing a cartoon video game, but also you're in video game hell because it's impossible to beat anything, at least when you first start the game. It looks nice and sweet, but it's deceptive because this game will kill you again and again and again. The most obvious point, as I said, to Cuphead is the fact that it looks amazing. It's the 1930s animation style, all watercolor backgrounds and surreal, juddering, hand-drawn characters. Somehow it manages to balance dozens of moving elements and a slight rear projection blur without ever feeling unreadable in its most frantic moments. There's never been a game that looks like this, and there may never be a game that looks like this again unless we see a Cuphead sequel. Hopefully it doesn't take 5 years to get that out. Every scene is a masterpiece. It's a near unbelievable achievement and work of art. Now, as gorgeous as the game is, as I said, it's also super hard. It's equally hard as it is gorgeous. And as I said, the game looks amazing, which means it's also amazingly difficult. It's absolutely uncompromising in its difficulty from the outset right away. No level includes checkpoints, with the exception of one matchup late in the game, and there's no way to regain your health. You get 3 hits per level. If you get hit 3 times, you're done. There's no checkpoint. You can't go back to a save spot. You can't regenerate health by eating some sort of fruit or chicken or whatever. None of that. You get hit 3 times in a level, peace out. Because of that, you can hit levels that take literally hours to beat, and the final boss is locked until you beat every other level on regular difficulty. There's a simple difficulty and there's a regular difficulty, but the regular difficulty is super hard, kill me every 10 seconds difficulty. Now let me be clear, that's not a complaint. Initially, when you first start playing Cuphead, it is a little frustrating until you realize that this game isn't so much about just breezing through as it is about meeting the challenges and figuring out how to beat it. It's also randomly generated. Every level and every boss have random movement, so each time you play, it's different. It's not like you can go to a boss like you can in most games, figure out the pattern of how the boss operates, and then plan your attack based on that pattern. The first time you face a boss, it may do one thing, but the second time you play, it may do something totally different, and you're gonna get thrown off, you're gonna throw off your game, and that's what kind of makes a game fun. The fact that you die so much actually adds to it, because it's super easy to jump back into the level again. Once you die, you just reset and you keep going. Studio MDHR clearly took great pains to evoking that 1930s era aesthetic that Cuphead lovingly pays tribute to, and it shows in every frame of the game. Likewise, the game sounds just as incredible with a big band jazzy score. Even though the game's visuals are constantly and widely different, within each encounter, the soundtrack matches it beat for beat with music that pops with style, like the visuals pop with flair. With the years of anticipation and delays, it started becoming easy to write Cuphead off as something that would be a flop. And although Cuphead isn't perfect, and as a gameplay experience it has some room for improvement, on a technical level and artistic level, Cuphead is a stunning achievement in both gaming and interactive art, and it's unlike anything I've ever played before, and it's probably unlike anything you've ever played before either. And quite honestly, some of the game's levels had me on the edge of my seat and edge of my sanity trying to beat them. Cuphead is a 2-player game, so you can play it by yourself or you can play it with a friend locally, and you'd think by adding in a second player that might make things a little more easier, but to the contrary, it makes the action on the screen even more crazy, and you have more things to monitor, and you have to make sure, since it's so easy to die, that you have your eye on your partner, because you can bring it back to life when they die if they don't float away too quickly. So you're looking at the enemies and watching your partner as well. For anyone interested in getting a taste of Cuphead without facing almost guaranteed defeat, like I said, there are simpler versions of every boss that you can fight, but you won't be able to access the final battle unless you beat every standard boss on normal difficulty. And in reality, you may as well stick with the standard difficulty anyway, because Cuphead is relentless no matter which mode you choose. So just get used to those harder levels, because you don't want to play through the whole game on simple and then turn it up and then realize that the game is way harder than you thought it was. Cuphead has been a long time coming, and it's great to see that it lives up to its initial promises. It's beautiful to look at, and with a pitch-perfect soundtrack, it flawlessly captures the era its developers so clearly revere. It's also an intense action game that pulls no punches. It could benefit from a few tweaks, and the two-player co-op doesn't feel like the valuable option that you might imagine at first, but Cuphead remains a rare and unique game that truly stands out. Now, I'm not a guy who likes to spoil games, so I'm not going into the story or revealing all sorts of bosses or anything other than the gameplay that you've seen during this video. But if the play style that I mentioned sounds like something you'd be interested in, I do wholeheartedly recommend Cuphead for you. Now, my question, have you played Cuphead? Have you had any interest in playing Cuphead? Let me know down in the comments below. I'll meet you there for further discussion. And if you have any tips for your boy on getting through the game a little easier, let me know that as well. If you enjoyed this one, feel free to drop a like on this video, and if you haven't done it already, you can click or tap on my face when it appears right at the bottom of the screen in order to subscribe for free to the channel so you don't miss any future videos. Thanks so much for watching. As always, guys, I appreciate your support. I'm Andrew Edwards, and I'll catch you in the next video.